right. Well, thank you, Coral, and everyone who's helps make this Queer Sangha a sweet and lovely space to join in. So welcome, welcome. I'll say a couple things and then we can settle into some practice and then open up to questions maybe after that to just kind of be in conversation. And I said I would teach something on finding liberation in relationship, which is a big topic for me. It's been a favorite class that I've been co-teaching for a few years at the East Bay Meditation Center, some in person while I lived in the Bay Area, and a lot online at this point as that community has become a space that really can hold hybrid events and really bring people in. So if you haven't checked out their Alphabet Sangha on Tuesday nights, might be late for East Coast, but it's a sweet space. So I was like, oh, what do I want to share from our wisdom on finding liberation and relationship? And I realize we've really been centering this teaching on strengthening our accountability in all kinds of relationships. So that might be work relationships, family, friends, romantic partnerships, and have really focused on trying to figure out how we can do a better job of identifying our own needs, boundaries we might need to set, sharing honest feedback and receiving feedback in a generous way. And all of that can really support us to be engaged rather than terrified of disagreement or conflict. And it's a good class. I think we're teaching it in December, so that's coming up soon. But as we said at the beginning, I'm calling in from Portland, Oregon, that's in the Northwest United States. And, here in the US, it's such a time of intense political attack on trans people that I know is being watched kind of worldwide of like what is happening in this space and how are people being impacted. So when I was thinking about, well, what do I want to say about finding liberation relationship, I really wanted to not start with accountability, but really start with some resourcing on love. So in Buddhist traditions, as you're probably familiar with, we talk a lot about love through this practice of metta or loving kindness. That's part of the four Brahma Viharas or divine abodes. So we have this loving kindness or metta. We have compassion for ourselves and others. We can tap into a sense of appreciative or relational joy. And we can also tap into a sense of equanimity or balance, where we're not too swayed by the conditions that surround us. And so I thought we'd practice a little bit with metta today, and I'll bring in some of the phrases that have been passed down in this Buddhist tradition over 2,600 years. But I've also really appreciated how people have taken some liberties to adapt those phrases for what is love in these times. So I might also pull in some phrases that Thich Nhat Hanh has developed, and there might just be stuff that comes out of my mouth that we'll also just trust is good practice for love in this moment. And we'll play around with like different directions that love can go. We'll probably pull in someone that is easy to love, someone, a pet, other beings. I have the trees right now in Portland are my friends. And also just see what it's like to point some love toward ourselves as something that we can connect in with. And I've really appreciated the instruction from the very beginning for me around metta. One of my first teachers brought in this practice on love and really encouraged me to realize, like, sometimes when we do metta, we taste the love, it feels like love, and sometimes it feels like the opposite of love. Um, and she talked about metta practice feeling like this giant magnet that pulls to the surface everything in our experience that is in the way of love. Uh, so for me, metta practice is not, it's not like a practice where it's just like, great, now I'm supposed to feel love and set aside any difficult feelings. Instead, I really find the practice to be an intention to get to know what is love in my own experience in this moment. Is it something that feels accessible? Is it something that feels impossible? All of those experiences are actually really welcome in the practice. And it's good, you know, when we hit some of those edges where it feels uncomfortable or difficult, um, you know, we can sit and practice with that edge, and we can also switch gears. I think I've learned over the years in my own practice. I feel like different people have different needs around this. Some people are like, no, I really need to stay with that hard edge. And, you know, I'm kind of overtrained to do that in my cultural conditioning. So I often actually do a better job of being like, okay, I feel that hard edge. Let me notice it and switch gears to something that just feels a little more gentle, a little more easy, a little more in the opportunity to feel a taste of love or even the possibility of love. I'd love to maybe just turn us to some practice if you feel up for that. And honestly, if you're like, Dawn, I just can't even deal with metta today, I also really trust you to turn to your own practice. If you're like, I just need to like take a breath here and notice that I'm alive, that's going to be a good practice too in these next 25 or 30 minutes. So I would just invite you to find a position that feels like it can be comfortable. If you want to turn your camera off or leave it on, all of that's welcome. And I like to just adjust my body a little bit to find what feels like a position where I can be connected with myself for this next period. Comfortable enough and alert to my present experience. We might just take a few moments here at the beginning to arrive. Perhaps for you, that's noticing your body touching the floor, your chair, your couch, your bed. Maybe you can feel the in-breath and out-breath. As part of arriving, I find it helpful to choose a particular point or anchor of sensation. Something that feels accessible in this moment. Taking these moments to notice this sensation. There might be feelings or thoughts that are here too, and you can just see if it's possible to let them be in the background. Just focusing your attention on your own embodied experience. Noticing in this moment what it's like to continue to turn your attention toward the sensations of your body, breathing, resting on the earth. You might notice how this practice feels in this moment, especially if it feels like a gift of kindness to your body mind tonight, perhaps after a long day or full time. Really invite you to notice that sense of ease, perhaps a touch of happiness. Soaking this in as a practice of kindness to yourself. If it's not feeling so easy, may that be okay too. Seeing if there's space to even appreciate your care for self and trying out some practice tonight. Getting curious about your internal experience as a way to take care. As you breathe, feeling the fullness of your body, mind, and heart. You're feeling a resonance to stay with this practice of connecting with your embodied sensations. Let yourself choose that. Continue to focus in there. And if you're feeling curious about these metta phrases, you might notice what arises when you say silently to yourself, "May I be happy." Perhaps a part of your body vibrates. Perhaps a flood of thoughts or emotions arise. Maybe there's a gentle receiving. May I be happy. Perhaps there's more there. May I be happy, peaceful, and light in body and spirit. Noticing how it touches you. Making space for whatever feelings might be here. Happiness and many dimensions of unhappiness. May I recognize and touch the seeds of joy and happiness in myself. You might stay with this cultivation of your own happiness, feeling it be touched or feeling just the release and letting go of some of the less happy feelings that can be part of this practice too. If it's supportive, if you're feeling curious, you can also direct this sense of love to others. It's helpful to first pick someone who it feels easy to share love with. That could be a pet or a friend, maybe a child, beloved teacher. As I shared, I'm especially appreciating the trees and the roses here in Portland. And noticing the thoughts, emotions, sensations that arise. As you connect in with this being that's easy to love and say, may you be happy. May you be happy. May you be happy, peaceful, light in body and spirit. May you nourish the seeds of joy in yourself every day. May you be able to live with ease and well-being. May you love and express yourself fully. Sometimes there's a phrase you might be especially curious about, how it resonates, or offers that magnetic pull of everything that is in the way of love. You might choose one or more of those phrases just to beam that love out to this well-loved being, being curious, finding out. Yeah, what this feels like internally in this moment. In these last couple minutes, again, choosing if you want to stay connected to this easy to love being, or try out turning this practice of beaming love back toward yourself. May I be happy. May I be safe and at ease. May I love and express myself fully. May I love who I love. Letting the bell invite you close this practice.